Hey everyone, guess what? We are here with the mighty Ben Koller from Converge, High on Fire, Mutoid Man, also realtor extraordinaire. Ah. Uh, Ben, thanks for taking some time out of your morning and hanging out and chatting with me.
Absolutely. So you are a realtor as well.
Am a
Ama-
realtor as well.
Amazing. Where at?
I live in Louisville, so I do Kentucky, Indiana, and Michigan.
Very nice. Oh, so you're licensed in 3 states. Yeah. I figured I should just keep getting my license in other states, right? Like, why not?
I mean, I guess it depends on how much work you want to put into it. But I
Yeah.
don't know with your schedule because you are like always on the go.
Yeah, I know it's hard. Like I just, got a place for some buyers and now I'm having to hang up my license for a year because my touring schedule is basically planned out from, now, well, from basically the end of March until the end of the year, we have tours like every month between High on Fire, Converge, and then Mutoid Man probably has some stuff too. So I just can't be home long enough to do it.
Yeah, but you
But
don't have to hang it up. Like
yeah,
you keep it active and just refer it all out.
yeah, I'm still with Compass, and I'll be a referral agent for at least the next year. But yeah, it's just hard when you have that much traveling planned. I would feel bad for clients not being around enough.
Yeah, it's like a delicate balance because of course I don't tour, but I'm always on the go and I'm trying to, go to shows and wherever the hell I can get to. So I'm like if business isn't like super busy, I'm like, okay, I can make this work. Or I gotta, hey, can you handle this for me so I can do this other shit?
Yeah, totally.
What made you get into real estate? Because I don't think you've been in real estate too long, have you?
No, only about a year or so, but I had been through the buying and selling process a few times on my own, and I really wanted to know more about it. That was the main thing. And I wanted to help my friends and family too, because we sort of got screwed by a couple people on both the buying and selling side, and we looked back and just saw all these mistakes they made, and we're like, why did like we trusted them to do all this for us, and they made so many mistakes. And so I just wanted to learn for myself. And then when the time came up again for either me or my friends or family to go through it, I'd know how to do everything right. And it's definitely been the case with my Compass team in LA is great. So they've really helped me learn how to do everything properly and not be so sloppy and try not to screw over your clients
Yeah.
like I was kind of screwed over. It was just bad stuff with like pricing and staging and just the little decisions along the way. It would just they were not made correctly, in my opinion, when I was doing all this stuff for myself. So yeah, I just wanted to learn about it and then have, another side hustle on top of a side hustle on top of a side hustle on top of, five bands and family and yeah, so I just pile it on, man. I just want to do as much as I can while I'm still here.
Yeah. Well, I do the same thing, right? Like it's very similar. I got into real estate because I had a similar experience with an agent. I was like, I feel like that could have been handled differently, so I want to learn. And my wife's like, you should do it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I did it, and I'm like, oh, that could totally have been done differently. I I really do my best now to like guide clients like here are your options, right? I can't make the decision for you. You have to make the decision. What's your timeline? What are we going to do? And it's really wild to see, especially like through COVID, dude, it was like the Wild West. People did whatever the hell they wanted. And I'm like, no, no, no. I want to keep my license. Don't lose that shit, you know? So
Yeah, and it's
wild.
funny. It's funny along the way when you have an agent and you don't know anything about real estate and you just trust the agent knows what they're doing. And then in retrospect, they don't at all. And that happened to us a couple times. And it's also interesting the difference between like LA real estate versus 2 hours out into the desert real estate. I mean, talk about the Wild West. I mean, we had this one local agent who, she showed up and I'm pretty sure she had had too many DUIs and her daughter was driving her around. And then the daughter was with her and they showed us this house and then the daughter blew up the bathroom so bad that the whole house. So they'd obviously been like up partying all night together, and she kept saying she was on the struggle bus. And I'm like, you got so these are real estate agents, huh? Cool. So
That
yeah,
is,
and
I
that
think that's very common. They get trashed. I'm like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
and that should have been a red flag, but we were like, oh, whatever, it's fine. They're just showing us a house, but yeah, I didn't want to have that kind of wild experience again.
Yeah. No, I
As
don't
funny as
blame
it
you.
was.
Yeah. Good. It's great for stories. It sucks when
Yeah.
you have to go through that process as, as a client. Like, mm,
Yeah.
terrible. So
Yeah, this year all bands it's going to be all band all the time.
yeah, I so let's see. I gotta like think through the last year for me. I caught you guys at Post Fest, which was
Oh,
it.
sick.
It was a super cool experience because one of the dude who put on the pre-show, his son, I think he was probably like 9 or something. We were all like side stage watching you guys play, and you're like a song in, bust your fucking pedal. I'm like, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, the kid had such a good time, and to see like how he reacted with that, I was just like, I don't know if he understands how fucking cool this is right now to like, watch Converge just like crush. It was spectacular watching that kid.
Amazing. Yeah, kick drum pedals, man. Sometimes you ride them too hard and they explode. But that just means you're playing hard, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just too many little moving parts on a drum kit for stuff to go wrong. There's little wing nuts and washers and screws and tension springs and yeah, well, like one little thing pops off and it can just be a showstopper. So
Yeah.
yeah, get to know your gear and how to fix it. Very important,
I
especially
think,
especially if you don't have a tech.
oh,
It's
for
all on
sure.
you.
I think you, who was that was the drummer from Pianos Become the Teeth that had a pedal there, I think.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Wow. Yeah, and that happened to me once when we opened for Gojira years ago. We played in Brooklyn. First song, it was the song Reptilian from Dusk and Us. We are opening with that. It's got a big like airy, intro guitar, building up the tension, and then it comes in super hard. And that first note, I hit the kick drum pedal, and the beater snapped in half. First note. So then I'm trying to play the rest of the song with just my left pedal. And it was a absolute disaster because there's so much double kick in that song, and I'm trying to like somehow fake it with just the left pedal. Maybe we should have stopped the song. But Mario from Gojira comes running out, and he's got a beater like so fast, and he like saved the show for me. And ever since then, I travel with an extra beater because you snap one of those things, game over.
It's over. I feel
Yeah.
like you need an extra set of pedals, dude. Like at this point.
Yeah, and I started taking spare snare, spare pedals when I can because yeah, that's a showstopper for sure.
Yeah. Damn it. The drummer, like, oh, I can't do my shit. Oh, what do we
Yeah,
do?
and we've had so many instances of that with gear, with guitar, bass, drums, whatever, PA going out, monitors, and that's just the nature of playing like loud, crazy, visceral, aggressive live music is you're gonna go hard and then the gear is gonna get sometimes trashed and or something's gonna explode or pop out. And especially when we only had tube amps instead of like, whatever what do they call them?
Like the
If it's not
quad cortex or whatever.
yeah, just like the newer stuff without tubes that everyone's using, and the gear is getting smaller and smaller, but still just as powerful, which is cool. But we used to travel around with these tube amps, and they're all shaking around in the van, and the tubes would explode and overheat, and it was just constantly fixing stuff. And guitar would cut out, and Kurt would just go jump in the crowd, and it was just like it's always ridiculous, and it's still ridiculous like that for us. That stuff still happens to us but it's
Yeah.
because we're actually playing real instruments and not a computer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool to watch you guys also like interact on stage. between the four of you, because it's more than just like we're here to play music and be real serious for the song. You guys really it looks like, from a fan's perspective, it looks like you guys really enjoy your time together on that stage.
Yeah, if
Like,
there's, I think this is one thing we can all agree on in the band is that we love the music and we love playing the music. So there's at least one thing we all agree on. So all the bullshit, writing the songs, traveling, all the band meetings, all that stuff. As long as it all means we can get on stage and play the songs the best we can and have a good time doing it, then it's all worth it. All the other crap is worth it.
yeah, I don't think a lot of people, at least when you first get into music, you don't realize how much stuff there is to deal with outside of writing a song and recording a song and being on stage. Like there's a lot of logistics that goes into it, especially with everyone's schedules, and you guys, I mean, of course, Kurt's got God City, Jake's got fucking everything he does. You have everything you do. And of course, Nate's got all he does. Like, how crazy is the scheduling for you guys?
It can be really tough, but luckily now, I feel like promoters and festivals and booking agents are really doing things very far in advance. Like we just 99% confirmed a tour for May 27. So some stuff is getting planned like a whole year and a half in advance. And I really like that because that means you can look at your calendar and be like, all right, I have these big blocks of time blocked off now, and I know that I can't do anything else during that time. And so that's just that time is gone. No one else can do, there can be no other conflicts. No other band can be like, oh, but wait, we got this cool offer. It's like, nope, that's blocked off. We know it's happening. And so that's pretty important just to get it early and to just kind of try to figure out your whole year. And High on Fire, Converge, Mutoid Man all happening at the same time. Maybe some other Killer Be Killed, all Pigs Must Die. Who knows? Other stuff comes up too. When you're trying to do it all on short notice, that's when it gets really hairy. But then, stuff gets canceled and rescheduled all the time. People have health problems, people have family problems, so it's really a big calendar juggling nightmare. But this year's been pretty smooth just with planning everything out. So I feel lucky in that way that I can just be like, okay, this is going to be a busy year, but it's good because I can see it all and I can just kind of mentally plan accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I understand the planning things out. I prefer planning things out and knowing in advance like what's gonna happen. It's, I'm dealing with a little bit of I'm high anxiety, which is so wild. My wife's like, "You're so cool all the time." Like, not inside, I'm not. Um, but plan it out, and I know things happen, but like it's got to be a lot easier with so many projects for everyone, right? To go, okay, we're booking May of 27 now. All right, so I know my next year and a half, kind of what we're looking at. Um, how much, I guess, do you try to give yourself time between tours, or is it just like we got this offer, I finish here for a day, I get a week off and on the road again?
It changes, as you get older and as your priorities change. But for me right now, I'm in the do everything I can all the time, don't say no to anything mode. Just because, I have 3 kids. I live in Los Angeles. It's a super expensive place to live. Um, and I'm like the sole earner for the family. So I'm in the mode of like, I don't care what it is. I give me all the work, while I'm still relatively young, because I just have to do as much as I can while I still can. And I had a really bad car accident recently, and I've had some like wake up calls where it's like all this could go away like that in a moment's notice. And what just while I can still do it, while I'm still alive, just like give me everything, like pour it on, give me every opportunity, every weird side hustle, every new business opportunity. I'm just like fully on board for it. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at now. Like, yep, say no. I don't say no to anything. Give me it all.
It's funny, like up until up until this year, I was that way. Property management company, coaching company,
Yeah.
uh, bar, record label, like whatever we could do, like let's do it. I'm on board. And this year I find, I'm finding myself like, man, I want to have more time with my wife. And my kids are now, they're not kids, they're adults, they're 19 and 21. And I'm like, oh, I worked so much through a lot of their teenage years that I'm like, the question I ask myself is like, did I do the best I could for them? Because at the end of the day, like I'm working so hard for the kids. Like, do you ever have those conversations with yourself?
Of course I do. Yeah, I have all the conversations with myself. Um, but the good thing about touring is when you go on tour, you're busy, it's like you're gone. But then when you get back, since you don't have a 9 to 5 really, and you kind of make your own hours, you can be like, okay, now that I just went on tour for 3 or 4 weeks, now I'm home for 2 weeks. This whole 2 weeks is like just school, family, hanging out, going to the beach, doing whatever. And not a lot of people have that opportunity. So I feel pretty lucky in that way where I can just have those big blocks of time in between to either keep working or kind of dial it back and just do family time. So it does balance it out. I almost feel like what we do seems like the craziest thing where you're away from home more than anyone else in the world. But really, having all that time in between when you're just free to do whatever might actually give you more time for, family and personal stuff than most 9 to 5ers, where it's like you're 9 to 5 or more now because you're not just 9 to 5 anymore. You're remote and you have this device with you all the time, then you're literally on call all the time. With real estate, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this where you have a full day at the office or out in the field or wherever, and then it's like 6 p.m. and then someone decides, let's do a business thing right now, or let's send a text or send an email or call, and you're like, I'm like eating dinner with my family. Like it's so blurry now with like what are office hours anymore? What are work hours anymore? It's a very like Wild West in that way. And yeah, I'm not really a fan of that, like just the craziness of everything coming at you all the time. So I really try to now make it so, okay, from this time on, I'm not even gonna look at the phone. I know people are texting me or emailing me, but it's like I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna take time for myself, for my family, and then you
No
know what?
one's
In the
dying.
morning, I get up super early. I get up, 4 or 5 in the morning lately, and I'm like, okay, in the morning, I'll get back at all this, you know. So
Yeah.
you have to set some boundaries because this world right now, it really likes to take away all your boundaries.
Yeah, there are no boundaries. There's, it's so open to everything. And like it's funny, I'm also like a 4 or 5 a.m. guy because that is my time to like complete peace. I don't want any like audio like issues. I don't want to hear music. I don't want to hear anything. I just kind of want to focus and read and prep for the day because I know come 6:30, boom, phone's going off, emails dinging.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. Like, do you set yourself a schedule for your phone? Like say, um, how I prep my clients. This is so wild. I prep my clients. I tell them you can text or call me at any point. If I can answer, I will. If I don't, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But like 9 o'clock every night, phone goes away. I don't look at it. I don't want to touch it. I want nothing to do with it. And it's my like wind down time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now the danger of these devices is really just coming out more than ever. I feel like the backlash against social media and just the anxiety and body image and all the self-harm damage that it's doing is really coming to light. And you have kids, I'm sure you've seen it, where some of these kids that don't have any rules with their devices, like their brains are scrambled. They
Yeah.
they are having some kids are having a really hard time. One of my one of my kids' friends has a phone way too young, and they're literally on Twitter all day. They sit in their bedroom and they just look at Twitter or X or whatever. And a young person's brain cannot handle that. I think that's
But
the
we
surefire way to make someone instantly nuts from a young
we
age.
we can't handle that. I mean,
No.
as you know, as fully grown, developed adults, like I can't imagine what it's really doing to the kids. I mean, that was my big argument with our kids too, was like 11. I don't, they shouldn't have a phone. They're 11. Where are they going? What are they doing? We take them everywhere. We pick them up. Like they, do they really need it? Oh, maybe school. Okay, I get, so maybe an iPad at home or whatever, but like, oh, I I'm glad we grew up in an era that we didn't have that.
Yeah, and I think there's some envy of that happening right now. I think that's why so many like teenage kids are obsessed with the 90s. I think they long for that kind of freedom from technology. Like I feel like we had just the right amount of technology. We had, phones, maybe you had a pager. Like I remember I had a pager. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Little pager, and then flip phones came out and it wasn't a big deal. And, there were some video games, but they weren't online or super immersive or,
No, like Snake.
open world, suck your life away. Yeah, it was like Minesweeper, Snake, Snood. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember Snood, great game. But yeah, like the technology was really quick. It was really quick and it wasn't like taking over your whole life. And like the singularity hadn't really happened yet where it's everyone on their phone all the time. I'll go to pick up my kids from school and before the bell goes off, everyone's outside and every parent is just like this. You look around and like no one's talking. Like this is weird. We
Yeah.
don't even realize how weird this is. We don't even realize what we're doing. It's just so magnetic to take that thing out. And I mean, I get it. I do it all the time too. But when you leave your phone at home and go out, man, it's awesome. What a great feeling.
That's
Like being in the moment.
it is. We did Headbangers Boat 24. So it was like my wife's like, I'm gonna get internet. And I'm like, okay, do your thing. But like my phone, I'm turning it off. Like I might have it with me for photos, but I don't want to text and any emails, none of that. Like that, those 4 or 5 days that we were on the boat, I was like, that is the most peaceful, like freedom that I have felt in so many years. So many years.
Yeah, we need to work on, I think a lot of people need to work on that balance because the balance is so far on the tech side now. And I think it's unfortunately it's getting away from us and I don't know what it means for the future. I'm pretty scared, honestly. It's and like the tech companies just get bigger and bigger and bigger and it feels like you're helpless and you're just tracked and used as a battery all the time for their own gain. And they gain more and more and more and then we get less and less and less, but our tech still stays tip top. you,
Yeah.
you still get free iPhone with T-Mobile when you trade in your old phone. It's like, wait, isn't that like $1,600? Like, don't worry about it, we'll just add a couple bucks to your bill. So they really just want to keep you up to date with the latest tech because if they don't, then
Well,
you're not
they're
you don't
missing
have these
out.
dollar signs over your head anymore.
Yeah. That's so funny. When I first got into real estate, someone told me, they were like, you look at everyone with a dollar sign over their head. And I'm like, why? Because my goal is to help people, not take their money. Like, I don't, like that doesn't understand. I didn't understand that. I still don't. Like, because to me, a person is a person, right? They should all be treated with the utmost respect. And you know, I guess have to admit, I've been an asshole a time or two in my life, right? Apologize to all of those people, but I really do my best to like help people and not like go, hey, I'm going to sell your house and you're going to give me money. Like, no, dude, what is your goal? Let's figure that out. So, what everything with tech is moving so fast, and we're in this like AI era. Like, that is to me the most, it's the craziest fucking thing. Like, you don't. I think we've had it for a lot longer than we've had access to it. I mean, look at, the Metapixel and Google Pixel and all of that stuff. Like it tracks you everywhere. Like, how do we how do we get away from that?
Yeah, the scariest thing I heard recently was the CEO of Suno.ai was doing an interview, and the main takeaway was that, or at least from the clip that I saw, and I'm sure it was a much longer interview, but the one clip was him talking about the amount of work it takes to make music and how wouldn't it be so much easier if the music was just, created instantaneously and you didn't have to put all that hard work into it. So his whole point was, why do you
Yep.
want to spend so much time working on making music when I can just make the music appear for you? It was the most psychotic, sociopathic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like you're literally telling people that it's better to not work for anything just to have it for you. So extrapolate that. What does that mean? So you're encouraging everyone to, be on a universal basic income and then just go home and Netflix and chill and drive around in a motorized Wally cart with your like vitamins and minerals like drink in a like in your little cup attached to your wheelchair. Like, is that what you're encouraging people to do? Like, of course it's hard work because you work really hard and then you get rewarded, and it's a real human product that you created by yourself with all of your hard work. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like, what's the, Game of Thrones, chaos is a ladder, right? It's like everything, like the work is that's the thing. That's the thing that keeps you alive. You retire when you're 85 and then you drop dead the next week because you don't have anything to live for anymore. Like, it's all about the work.
Yeah.
And you're saying don't work, don't do that. It's so hard. It's so hard to make music. Why would you do that? It's insane. Like who the fuck would say that? It's insane.
Obviously someone said it, like I can't understand. I don't understand that either because I like music because I like, to me it's like what someone sees in their brain. It's they create this thing, and you listen to any artist and you can go, okay, I can get behind, or I can understand what they're thinking when they created this song. Or maybe you can't understand it and you just feel the emotion behind it, or the primal or whatever it is. You don't get that with a computer. Like, what is wrong with people?
I mean, I get as a tool for, possibilities and using different tones and like like a keyboard shortcut, treating it like as a supplemental tool to help your workflow go faster, and then all of the human creativity is still yours. I guess I mean I get that side of it, but it's just such a slippery slope because like where do you let the automation stop? And with pop music is one thing. I mean, I feel like with pop music now it could be 90% AI and you just put your little vocal hook over it or whatever. Or maybe the AI wrote the vocal hook. Maybe you give it a prompt that says, oh, give me a catchy hook that's kind of anime style, like uh K-pop Demon Hunters meets a little bit of Taylor Swift with maybe like something like that Apatapate chorus from that really popular song. And then it might just take all those things and just swirl it around, and then you get this little 6 note melody, and it's like, okay, there's my hook. So I mean, with that kind of music, AI could probably write most of it. But
I think
for
at this point it probably does.
that's what it sounds like to me. It's
Yeah.
so like when it's so processed and on the grid and so everything's so perfect. And then that's hurting all the real music because now people's ears are getting trained to only get used to super melodic on the grid stuff. And if there's any imperfection, their young brains go like, ooh, what was that? Like, ooh, I'll smooth that out. And one of the big reasons why everyone's going back to analog and going back to CDs and vinyl and cassettes is because that exact reason. They know that the original product that band made sometimes sounds nothing like the newest Spotify, Apple Music remastered version because they'll take old music like Queen or something and then they'll auto-tune Freddie Mercury. And it's like stop. It reminds me of the first time I saw the, Star Wars remastered where George Lucas added a CGI uh a CGI Jabba the Hutt walking around, and you were like, what the fuck is that? And that's what they're doing in music. They're trying to smooth it out. And they're trying to like auto-tune and put something on the grid that was never on the grid or auto-tuned in the first place.
Yeah.
So the analog thing is like that's like the last pure representation of what the band actually put out. Because when you get in digital, it just gets so squirrely with that stuff.
It does. It starts to, this is a conversation I had with Kyle Thomas from Exorder the other day was very much like, I think a lot of people get to a point where they're like, okay, I just want to put an album out with no imperfections in it. And then they do it and they look back or, you know, they look back and they go, man, I miss hearing the fingers on the fretboard. I miss hearing the extra taps or whatever. I want those imperfections because to me, or I think to a lot of people, it lets you know like this is part of the human element, right? We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and we don't have to have something that is, just a fucking marble surface for our music. No, let's have some stones on there where you stub your toe or, get kicked in the eye. Like there has to be some imperfections there,
Yeah, a stick goes flying, a string pops off, and then t tuning on the fly like to compensate. And Converge just did a session for Audio Tree,
which is
and
fucking great, by the way. I've listened to that
oh,
like
thank you.
1,200 times.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and I thought it came out really great, and I think it's connecting with so many people because it is a great recording, but all the playing is 100% us. Like they didn't mess with that at all. So it's like this is really what we sound like live in a room with like really nice microphones and equipment and a good mix. And that's the kind of stuff I like. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. And yeah, I'm worried that people are losing that, and it scares me. It's like the again taking the just removing the humanity from everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a balance, right? There's going to be, at least for a while, there's going to be, at least I'd like to believe, I have faith in humanity a little bit. I think like to believe that, yeah, a little bit. The majority of us are there for, like a live show is that human interaction, and not even just the band, but the feeling of community when you're there to watch a band or, watch, maybe you're not there for the whole band, you're only there to watch the drummer or whatever. You're all there for the same thing, and that at least for that time, I'd like to think that it takes us out of our electronics and we can go, okay, like we're gonna actually interact with people here. Like, oh, sorry, I spilled your drink, or damn, like I got, karate kicked because this kid was really getting it on in the mosh pit or whatever. I don't know. I hope that the majority of us is there. But let's change trajectory for a minute, because you did something that I don't know a whole lot about, with royalties. Like, so tell me about that.
Yeah, so very long story, but to kind of sum up the last year or so for me, it started off with I guess a quest to figure out full transparency, I guess is a good way to put it, because I had been hiring so many little companies over the course of my career, for 25, 30 years at this point, and still not knowing what they all do was like a concern of mine. And so I looked at everything I had, my ASCAP, my performing rights organization, ASCAP, that collects all of my public performance. Like I knew what all that was pretty much. I'm like, okay, that's when you get played on radio and you get played on, TV shows, movies, whatever, live performance. And like ASCAP, they go out and collect all that for you, and you get a statement, and it shows you all your countries where you get money from. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. And then the company Sound Exchange, they do non-programmable digital streaming radio collection. And so I'm like, okay, so when Sirius plays your songs, they collect all that money. It's like, okay. And then it gets a little fuzzy, right? Because in the digital realm with all the Spotify stuff, I think most musicians think, Spotify pays like shit. They give you a tiny fraction of a penny per stream. It doesn't matter. They're atrocious, blah, blah, blah. We're stuck with them. We can't do anything about it. Everyone wants on-demand, curated digital streaming radio, and like, well, I can't do anything about it, whatever. And so I had hired a couple different companies. There's one called Cobalt, there's one called Song Trust, and they were kind of collecting some of the digital stuff for me. And there was another company called Harry Fox Agency that sends like, 39-cent checks every once in a while. And then there's another one called Music Reports, and they get some kind of licenses from, TikTok or Peloton, and you get these letters and these statements and these agreements, and you're like, I don't even really know what this is. And I guess I'll just ignore it, or I'll just sign it. And so with all the newer like digital stuff, it was just such a gray area. And I've been kind of telling my bands for years, like, hey, do you guys think we're collecting everything properly? Like, I just think we're missing something from all of this. And that kind of led to me pursuing some new publishing deals with other companies. And so I put together this publishing deal for this with this one company, and they were gonna go out and try to find all the stuff that we didn't get, and then that deal sort of fell through. The band was like, oh, we don't really want to do that because it costs like an admin fee or whatever. And so that led to me talking to this dude, Jeff Price, who I've worked with before. He was helping me years and years ago understand like how to collect YouTube royalties, where your song gets played on YouTube, you get money, but I still didn't really know how all that stuff worked. And so I really just started to go on a little deep dive, a little quest for knowledge to figure out like if I was collecting everything, where all this money was going, because I'm like, you know what? I've worked so fucking hard to make all this music. This is my main job. It's always going to be my main job. I'm a lifer. I really want to figure all this stuff out. I don't want all the business side to be this gray area where I don't know what's going on. I want to know fully that I'm fucking getting everything that I'm owed. And just coincidentally, when that little publishing deal fell through, I spoke with Jeff Price. I saw this blog post or whatever he did online, some little news blurb. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He has a new company, and it's called Word Collections, and they were collecting royalties for stand-up comedians and for like spoken word stuff. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And he had another company coming up that was going to be collecting for bands as well. And so, I wrote him. I'm like, hey, remember me from years ago or whatever? And he called me up, and he taught me about the Music Modernization Act. And I don't know if you've heard about this bill
Mm-mm.
that was yeah, a lot of people, I didn't know what it was. The story I'd heard about this Music Modernization Act is that it was this great thing for musicians. It was going to increase the royalty rate that Spotify pays. So I was like, oh, that's good. So that was kind of the narrative in the news. And this was in 2019. And then that act, it passed through Congress. It was written by all these, executives and blah blah blah, and it created a non-governmental organization called the Mechanical Licensing Collective. So what the Mechanical Licensing Collective does is it collects every digital songwriter royalty that's earned in the United States and puts it in this one nonprofit organization. And he's starting to explain this stuff to me, and I'm like, like the antennas are going wild. I'm like, this doesn't sound good, man. And so that organization has all of the songwriter money. It's called a mechanical royalty. When you make a song, you put it online, you automatically generate this mechanical royalty. It's your songwriter royalty. You have the songwriter royalty and you have the sound recording royalties. So those are the two halves, right? So the sound recording royalty, I had been collecting like no problem pretty much with all these other companies. But then the mechanical royalty, I had no idea that now all this money goes into this one organization. And if you don't go and collect it
It's
in
theirs.
if you don't collect, yeah, it's theirs. And so you can see how much money they're making. When you don't collect a royalty, it goes into what's called the black box. Black box royalty means that money's not collected and then it goes somewhere. Where does it go? It goes into this one NGO that has an over $1 billion hedge fund at this point from all of the songwriter money that's not collected. So when I talked to Jeff, I was like, this is amazing. How do I get this money?" And he's like, "Well, you can hire us to do it. This is what we do. We are publishing administrators. And I think if you are in a band for a living, if you write songs, you need a publishing administrator because no one is ever going to do this shit for themselves. No musician, no band is ever going to do this. We are terrible at paperwork. We hate rules and filling stuff out and deadlines. Like we hate all that. It's like, no. We write the music, we go on tour, we put out the records. We don't want anything to do with this shit. So having a good publishing administrator, in my opinion, is key. And so I hired him to collect all my stuff. And so fast forward a couple months later, he calls me up again and is like, "Hey, I think this is kind of a really big problem for heavy bands, especially heavy bands like you, like the Mastodons, the High on Fires, the Converges, the Baronesses of the world, all these like weird, Gojira, whoever, all these weirdo heavy bands that are songwriters and they have these songwriter royalties and they don't necessarily know where all the money is going. And
Right.
that's where it's all going. It's going to this one company, this one NGO, this nonprofit that collects all of it, and you have to go and get it for yourself. And so I mean, the main reason why we started Heavy Music Collective together was to educate songwriters on all of this and just to let people know that like, listen, you're kind of getting screwed by these really large forces that are sweeping up all the stuff that we're too lazy to get or too maybe not knowledgeable enough to get. And I was ignorant in the same way. I didn't know anything about the Music Modernization Act. I didn't know about the Mechanical Licensing Collective, and I didn't know a lot of other things. I didn't know about when you fill your set list out on tour and you give it to somebody at the show and then they go and give it to somebody else and then maybe somewhere down the line you get money when it gets replayed somewhere. Like there's so many weird little gray area things about all of this, and um, I just wanted to get more educated about it all. And so that's our main goal is to educate people and just know that you have all this if you're a songwriter you have all this money that's just floating around out there and these larger forces are going to go and swallow it up and take it from you.
That's so wild. Like
Yeah.
it's cool that you like dug into it. It's shitty that all the money doesn't automatically just go to the artist because I think, especially in current times, you hear, I think I say current times, I feel like we've always heard that bands aren't making the money that they feel they should, right? Especially at club levels, like they're like, shit, well, now that makes sense. So I hope that a lot more people like dig into it and ask you questions and get the money that they deserve. I mean, you guys are creating the fucking art. Like, can
Yeah.
we at least,
It's hard, man. It's hard because this stuff is ever changing and all the digital stuff is still so new. I mean, it hasn't really been around that long yet, and the mechanical licensing collective hasn't been around for that long, and so it just people haven't really caught up yet. And like I said before, my misconception was there's just no money there, and that's totally wrong. The Spotify thing is just one piece of the puzzle. Spotify and Apple Music and all them, actually, they have to pay operating fees to the Mechanical Licensing Collective on top of all of the black box money and on top of all this other shit they're making, just from ignorance and just, random money that's floating around. And so they are making a lot of money. And it's our money.
yeah,
It's the songwriter money. And you can go into the system and you can look up your bands and see if you have money there. And sure enough, they searched Converge for me, and there was like here's all these thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even more money that's just sitting there. And it's like if you worked at Starbucks and they said, "Oh, here's half your paycheck. The other half is down the street at a check cashing place, and you got to fill out some forms to get it." It's like, huh? Like
right.
what? And then all these bands, everyone that we talk to, the conversation usually goes like this. I have ASCAP or BMI. I have this. I maybe have Sound Exchange, or I had this other company called CSAC, and then they got bought out by private equity, and I never re-registered my song, so I don't even know what's happening. Or I think I have a publishing deal with somebody with BMG or whoever, or It's Cobalt or Song Trust, but I don't even know. I forget. It was years ago. I don't even know if it's still active. And it's like so many people literally just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And like we don't care, but we need to care because we're just it's just opening up the door for them to rob us blind. And it's
Right. Keep
really
taking the
unfortunate.
money and we start losing fans and
Yeah.
no one's out touring. Like, no, this this is the thing that, music to me is the thing that brings us all together. Right.
Right.
Like there's no when you walk in there, everyone's there for that reason, the fucking band. Nothing matters. Right. So the band should be making the money. They should get all of their money. And that my art, I've had this thought since I was a kid, right? Like I understand where a major label like comes from, but I'm not a fan of these major labels because I feel like a lot of them are just there's that middleman that goes, we're going to take the majority here. Hold on. Why are you taking the majority?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're helping, which should be a small percentage. The band is out there hustling and writing the music and doing all the things. So we just, need to find more ways for the bands to actually get all their money and you are doing that thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're really just we're trying to bridge that gap between the creative side and the business side. And unfortunately, if you're a creative person, then the business side is the enemy. Like creating good art is like literally the enemy of money. It's a battle of good and evil. It's like money is the fucking root of all evil, and then on the other side is creativity and art and passion and beauty and painting and music and poetry and we don't want to think about that side. And so what so many people on the business side do is go, "Oh, they don't care about this. We care about this. Let's make this our job. We'll do all this side. And you guys just go out and make your stuff." When we first started this company, remember I was talking to John from Baroness, and he said something that really stuck with me was that, no matter what they do to us, we're still going to go out there and do this music. We're going to make this music and go on tour. They're not going to stop us. Even if it was like, "Oh, you don't get a penny anymore." We don't care. We're still going to do
Right.
it. It's what we do. We're fucking lifers and they know that. So they're just going to keep operating and keep collecting. The money's going to keep coming in, and but there is something we can do about it. We can pay attention, and we can learn. We can get educated, and we can get help. And lucky for me in this company, it's all people that are pro music and are musicians or were musicians and are the fucking good guys. And it was really refreshing for me to find all these people that really do care and really just do want to be transparent and honest and educate songwriters and musicians that you are entitled to 100% of everything that you make, and just make sure that you go out and do it. So
Yeah.
start caring a little bit because you're getting robbed, like literally robbed in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And that rabbit hole goes way deeper. It's like you're on tour and you get a hospitality budget and it's $300, and you can either let them go out and get your tortilla chips and your two apples and then they pocket the rest, or you say, "Give me the whole hospitality budget. I'll go out and buy my own food." And there's just like I swear there's like little things, the deeper you dig into all this stuff, it's like there's so many little things where someone is just like out of nowhere, like, "Mine, and take that from you," you know? And just because they can, and because bands are, we are the way we are.
Yep.
And we're weirdo artists and we're fucking crazy people. And like we don't to pay attention to this side enough.
Well, that, it reminds me of like 50 Cent when he was trying to get out of his record deal. All he did was audit the company and they ended up owing him like, I don't know, 16 or 18 million dollars that they didn't like push over. And it's like if this one artist sees that, how many other artists aren't really digging into it and aren't getting the money that they rightfully deserve, and how much, because my fucking brain just doesn't stop right there. Like, how many artists go, well, I didn't make money on that album, so I'm gonna quit or I'm gonna give up. Well, shit, now we just lost, you know, this. potentially amazing artist, or someone thinks it's an amazing artist that isn't creating art anymore, and now we're just like, okay, go to work, do our thing. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder about the bigger artists too, because we're a medium level to sort of big band. We're not like Metallica or a Taylor Swift, or like we're not on, like on that level. I feel like it's probably so much grosser with some of the situation, and there's some good articles you can find about, some of these lawsuits if you're curious, some of the Spotify stuff. There was a big Eminem and 8 Mile Style versus Spotify lawsuit that was crazy, and then there was one with Wixon Publishing, same thing. It was like they're not getting the proper copyrights. They didn't get the right use of what they're doing. They just went out and did it and just started playing. It's like they just figured they would take all the stuff and start using it and then worry about it later. That felt like the business model. And there's another great article about it's about the MLC and their hedge fund. I think it's called "Is the MLC Just One Giant Hedge Fund" or something like that. You can find it online. But yeah, it's gross, man. It's like, yeah, it's literally about, to me, it's like a battle. It's a battle of good versus evil. The
Yeah.
evil will come in and just be the enemy of creativity and humanity and just try to suck everyone dry, like actual money vampires. Just like, give me all the money. You don't deserve it, or if you don't care, I'll take it. You know.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think that's how, not even just in music, I think a lot of people are like that, like real estate, right? Like, oh, if you're gonna, you're gonna give me money, it's cool. And I'm gonna add all these fees, and then I'm gonna take this and go over here, and you're gonna go about your business. And it's like, hold the fuck on. You know, this is how people live. This is what gets them to that next level in their life. Like, let's have, or let's be ethical, right? And not be complete fucking douchebags. And I want more music. Like, come on. I
Music is
fuck,
amazing, man. It's the most amazing thing in the world, and that's why I'm a lifer. I'm always gonna do this no matter what. And yeah, just trying to help people out.
yes. Yeah. And good for you. Thank you for doing that, because it helps me by, hopefully, people keep making music that might otherwise not. Um, so music brings us together. What, like music experience for you was the most, I'm gonna say most memorable, but I might mean like the most made you feel like such a part of a community.
Um, Hard to narrow it down to one thing, but I would say mid 90s, late 90s, discovering punk, hardcore, especially punk and hardcore music, and like, kind of screamo, grindcore, that whole scene, discovering all that, when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, and going to shows and seeing not just the music, the community, the camaraderie, and the willingness to accept anyone no matter what was really, really what did it for me. Just the warmth of showing up to this small gathering where everyone's so cool. You felt like you were part of something special that, the evil outside forces couldn't touch. Yeah, I was just hooked on that instantly. My first local show at Cape Cod Community College when I was 13 years old, where there were just the worst bands playing, but it didn't matter because I didn't know what a bad or a good band was. Uh, B, I was just, out with kids my own age, but it was that sense of belonging and making art and yeah, just doing cool stuff where you felt like you were a really special part of something. Yeah, and then punk led to hardcore and metal, and then just all the subgenres, all the shows, just kind of naturally happened after that, and playing drums and joining bands, recording records, that all just came as a byproduct of that.
That's cool. That, it's funny. I always, when my since my kids were young, you and I talked about this a little bit before, but since my kids are young, I always try to introduce them to music, take them to a live show, let them see, you know, you might be weird, but we're all weird together here. Like this is our place. And my daughter's first show was Max and Igor doing the Return to Roots tour. Yes, it was like super
Max
cool.
and Igor, they're two of my favorites, and Igor still crushes, and Max still crushes.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to start a band with or join a band that Max already had called Kill or Be Killed, and we only did one tour so far. Still trying to make more tours happen, but back in 2015 now did a festival called Soundwave in Australia and played a bunch of shows and just watching him like work the crowd and stuff was he's such a fan of metal and such a like authentic fan of music. It's awesome to watch. At one point he was supposed to be playing guitar, but he just got so stoked he like just let the guitar dangle and was just like getting like a kill or be killed chant going. Like it was amazing, man. Just like such a fan of music. Yeah, it makes me feel like I need to be doing more as a fan, because sometimes you play this stuff and write this stuff and record this stuff so much that it's hard to enjoy listening to it. But you got to remind yourself that it's still just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
Heavy
like
music.
and Max is another one. Like what's he got like six projects right now? I mean, he's doing Nail Bomb again
Yeah,
and
yeah, Nail
like
Bomb, Cavalera, and Soulfly, and yeah, the Max and Igor thing, and yeah, he's got a lot, man.
just it's just nonstop. Yeah, go ahead and die and
That's
I'm
right.
like holy shit, Max. Like again, like where does he find time? But anytime you see, I think photos of him, if he is not traveling, he has a guitar in hand. Like
Yeah.
just nonstop. But it's really cool to like introduce my daughter, who is my youngest, to that in that scenario because Max and Igor, obviously Sepultura, but they're fucking they are so well respected in the metal world, and they are like I think anyone would agree they are metal, and anyone that goes to see their show understands what that like community really fucking feels like. Uh, she always felt like she was the black sheep, the weirdo. And as soon as we walk in, I mean, we weren't there 5 minutes, and a couple of the opening bands are like, "You're the coolest fucking kid ever. Here's some drumsticks. Here's some guitar picks." And she's like, "They don't think I'm weird." I'm like, "No, we're all fucking weird. It's cool."
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes one of those shows to change the whole trajectory. Like, oh wait, this exists too? Like
Yeah.
I can do this. Like, yeah, it's still out there. And I think that's a big reason why, hardcore is kind of coming back in a major way. The huge bands like Turnstile and Knocked Loose have then drawn attention to all the other hardcore metal punk, whatever subgenre you want to name, all the weirdos in this world. And the clips you see online of hardcore shows in some hall or VFW or warehouse where everyone's just moshing and piling on each other and singing along. Like people see that and they're like, whoa, like what's going on there? Like
Yeah.
what are all these freaks doing? Like, well, they're playing hardcore music and singing along to hardcore music, and yeah, it's still the greatest thing ever. It feels, a lot of times it feels like the same way it did in 1996 or whenever.
The
That
live
energy, yeah, the energy and the sentiment are still there.
Yeah, it's so electric when you go to one of those shows. Like you can just see like people are like buzzing with excitement to see what is next. It's cool to watch the kids, all pile up and fucking yell into the microphone, and it's just like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
And I
Like,
remember that feeling, being 16 years old and going to see, you know, Bouncing Souls, or, even before I was in the band, going to see Converge and knowing the words and being that close to the stage and being able to just jump up on stage and grab a mic if you want. Like that was a totally normal thing to do. And that's just so different than like a normal band, sitting in a seat and just watching. It's like, no, you get to kind of be in the band, like in
Be a
this one
part
big
of it.
soup with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
It's
yeah, that was always so impactful for me to be able to just yeah, be in the soup with all the other weirdos.
well, it's funny. Like I'm a big like mental health proponent. Like um my little brother in 2019 took his life, so I was like, holy shit, what's going on? So I kind of like you did with royalties, I started digging into like mental health and things we can do to help avoid some of those issues. And I Harvard did a study over like 80 years, and it was there were like two groups. There was a extrovert group and an introvert group. And they found that the extrovert group was 87% less likely to get mental health issues than the introvert group. Like, holy shit. That so through everything they found that being part of a community, whether it be church or a Freemason or the music community or whatever, that you're less likely to have these health issues or these mental health issues. And I always thought that was really cool. I still think that's really cool because like the world is fucked up enough, dude. Like if we could feel if we could feel like we are not alone, I think it helps us get through whatever bullshit we're dealing with.
100%. Yeah,
So
so important.
yeah, so I know we don't have a lot of time, so um I just want to like, how did High on Fire come about?
Pretty organically, actually. Cody, the drummer of High on Fire, was getting really busy playing with the Melvins, and there was one High on Fire tour coming up, and I think he was probably feeling really overworked, overwhelmed, as we do get sometimes, and wanted to see about getting a fill-in for that tour. And Jeff from High on Fire, who's also in Mutoid Man with
Mutoid Man.
me, called me up and was like, "Hey, would you want to try to fill in for High on Fire?" And I paused for a second. I was like, because I had at this point I had just started Heavy Music Collective. I had just started becoming a realtor. Converge was starting to ramp up a little bit. YouTube's like all this stuff was happening at once, and I'm like, "Whew, I got to think about this for a second." But ultimately, I was like, "Oh yeah, like hell yeah, of course." Like I love High on Fire. We've played together a million times in other bands, festivals, and over the years, and felt like a really natural fit. And as soon as we started jamming together, it was like I felt that, I felt that thing. I had that feeling, that little, the feeling in your gut, the great feeling of just when the riff hits you, man. Especially, when Matt put on his guitar and I heard that first surge of volume, it was like, oh my God. Like I need this feeling in my life. And it felt great. We've been having a really good time together, playing shows, going to Europe and all that. And so yeah, just gonna see where it goes from here. And I got a bunch of stuff planned for this year as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things that just sort of came up organically and felt good immediately. And yeah, hopefully there's going to be a whole lot more of that coming up.
Hell yeah, that's super cool. Now because of High on Fire, you met my buddy Murph, who I love
Oh
him
yeah,
to fucking death, dude.
dude,
Like
Mark's the best. Yeah,
one of
hard
the
hard worker, great dude. Yeah, just yeah, he's the best.
yeah. Did he tell you about his band,
Which band?
Blessed Black?
I don't know.
So they're
Maybe.
fucking they're really, really fucking good. Um, God, they are so good. They are one of my favorites, dude. Like I listen to them religiously. His voice, if you have not heard him sing, he has such a powerful fucking voice, dude. It's it's mind-boggling how fucking good it is. Um, and I only bring it up because of course I love Murph and I love Blessed Black, and I think everyone should listen to fucking Blessed Black.
Hell yeah, Blessed Black. Yeah, awesome.
Hell yeah. All right. I know that you have shit to do today. I also have shit to do today. So
Yeah.
Ben,
I got a really fun band meeting coming up right after this. Can't wait. Talk about all the fun band stuff.
yes, good
All the all
times.
the all the annoying stuff that's not the music. Yeah, really fun. But hey, it's necessary.
It is a
Get
necessary
get your
evil.
affairs in order, kids. It's important.
Yes. So Ben, thank you, dude. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the time you've allotted me to sit here and chat, and I hope that a lot more people get into the heavy music collective and are able to collect more of their money.
Yeah, it's come start asking questions, start interacting, and yeah, get what's rightfully yours.
Hell
And
yeah.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Have a good day, dude.
All right, peace.
See ya.